Last week, when I posted the 2025 Toyota Crown Signia, again comparing that to the NX Hybrid and the RX Hybrid, and wondering if people should continue to buy Lexus vehicles. The Crown Signia seems to be checking a lot of boxes, and it definitely checks the box when you compare it to your wallet and how much you're going to spend when you compare that to the NX and RX models from the Lexus cousin. I had a viewer asking me to compare the NX450h Plus with the 2025 Toyota Crown Signia Limited in Canada and asked for my opinion on what is the better vehicle to get. I always say that the better vehicle is actually the vehicle that you can get. If you're not on a list for a 450h Plus, I would say the Signia is probably the better way because the wait times are still a bit long. Especially during chip shortages, hybrids are even hard to get as well. But as chips are easing off a little bit, the wait times are getting a little bit better, but there's still wait times because it seems like everybody still wants a hybrid. And that's what I've heard around. I'm not sure if that's the case. So comparing the 450h Plus to the Signia is not really comparing apples to apples. However, in Canada, it does make sense for shoppers who are cross-shopping because if they already have their name on the NX plug-in hybrid list, the biggest reason is pricing. Because in Canada, if you're in a province that does not have any rebates, you still get a $5,000 rebate from the federal government. But if you actually are in BC or Quebec and get further reductions based on the rebates, that may even be a better case. So let's look at it and see how they square off. Alright, so here we have the spreadsheet for the 2025 Crown Signia. We have the 2025 NX350h Hybrid and the plug-in hybrid. And we have the different trims in Canada. So in Canada, we only have the Limited and the Limited with the tech package. So this does not include any taxes, but it does include like air conditioning tax or whatever, but no sales tax. So $61,000 for the Limited and $63,000 with the tech package. So when you compare that, the NX350h is actually the base premium is actually lower than the Limited because this is actually the top grade, and that's the only grade that we get in Canada. So when you look at it, we can compare the luxury, which is right close to enough to the Limited plus tech. So it's about like $1,300 difference. And then when you look at the ultra premium, this is the price $63,330, and you minus the $5,000 federal rebate. And if you're in like BC and Quebec, as I said before, you'll get additional rebate, and you can see that the $58,330 is much cheaper than the Crown Signia itself. So that's where we are looking at, can we compare the Limited with the ultra premium NX450h Plus? But if you compare it to the F Sport 3 and Executive, then that's still far away. Like that's like $12,000 difference. And that's why sometimes when you look at the NX350h Executive, that's $73,000 with the NX450 Plus with the rebate, which is $75,000. That's only $2,300 difference. So that's not a very big difference. Follow me on Instagram at LSFT Videos. You can see updates on my experience with the NX450h Plus, which may not be shown on any future videos. You can reach out to me via direct messaging if you have any questions on your Lexus. If you like this video, you can provide me feedback in the comments below, like this video, share it with your friends. This definitely will help with the YouTube algorithms. Press the subscribe button and bell icon and get notified when new videos show up. And lastly, if you want to support me further, you can provide me a super thanks, or visit my Amazon storefront before you purchase anything from Amazon, or you can purchase products from the list on the items that I've been using with my vehicle or at home at no extra cost to you. And now let's continue with the video. And this comparison doesn't work for the US because if you look at the Crown Signia, it's about 47,000 to 49, almost just right under 50,000. But the NX450h Plus in the US is 62,000 to 63,000 range. So this comparison would not work, and you don't get the 7,500 rebate. But if you do lease, and there's some workarounds that people have been doing, they can get the $7,500 rebate, and that gets it closer, but still a little bit far away, like $5,000 difference. The pricing for premium color for the Toyota is $470. And then for the Lexus, it's $650. Okay, the ultra premium that you see does not have the premium colors. You only get the basic colors, the white, the black, and the gray or something. I won't be comparing this because we've already looked at this when we looked into the US numbers. There's no changes across the board. So the difference is the 304 horsepower on the NX450h Plus, and you compare that to the 240, definitely a lot more powerful. And then when you look at 0 to 60, it's 7.1 seconds versus 6 seconds. So definitely the NX450h Plus is a much faster vehicle itself. All right, so then when you look at the fuel consumption, combined is 6.2, and it's 6.6 for the NX450h Plus, and it's 6 for the NX350h. So the most fuel efficient is the 6-liter NX350h. So it's about 0.4 liters per 100 kilometers more when you compare that to the NX450h Plus with the Crown. And then you can see that recommendation is regular, premium, and premium. But the NX450h Plus, you could put in regular. It's just recommended, but there is no must take that you have to use premium. EV range, there's no EV range on the two hybrids, but the plug-in hybrid does give you 60 kilometers roughly. I've seen in the winter, it goes to like 49, 50, but in the summer, it can go over 60. It can go like 70-ish kilometers. Some people have got like to 80. My record is 84.1 kilometers, and that's going purely city driving. Then the equipment is exactly the same as the US numbers, so this one I'll be skipping. And then I think the most important thing here is now looking at the features. So I think I'll be focusing more on the Limited Plus tech versus the Ultra Premium 450h Plus. So that's what the viewer were asking me for. So when you look at the headlights, there's really no big difference. One's a bi-LED. This is also an LED headlight. It doesn't give you like the headlight washers or anything else. It does give you automatic high beams, so they're both exactly the same. When you compare the outdoor mirrors, power folding, puddle lights, I think they're mostly the same. I don't see any big differences between the two as well. The steering column, heated, telescopic, so this one is not power adjusted in the Crown. In the NX plug-in hybrid, it is power adjusted, so that's one difference. The panoramic roof, it's a fixed roof on the Signia, and on the 450h Plus Ultra Premium, you get a standard powered moonroof. Wipers are the same. The liftgate is the same. They're both power open and close, so there's no kick sensors on both. The front seats, heated and ventilated, and it's also heated and ventilated, same for same. Rear seats, also heated rear seats, so same for same. The seat material, this is one thing I did not add in the US one, and this one I have added because I've seen people ask about it. Leather on the Crown Signia, but it's new luxe on the Ultra Premium 450h Plus. Okay, that's one difference. So if you're a person who loves leather, probably that would be the better choice. So the digital gauge cluster, so this is the same across the board already. 12.3 digital cluster versus a 7-inch digital cluster. So hopefully the next refresh, we will see the same cluster in the NX, but at the current moment, 2025, the Crown Signia has a full digital cluster versus the NX450h Plus gets a 7-inch, and the side lights are not part of the digital gauge. Depends on what you really think. Do you really want the full experience or what it is? When you look at the wireless charger, it does not include the wireless charger, so you don't get a wireless charger on the Ultra Premium. 5 USBs versus 6 USBs. Digital key is included, but is not included on the Ultra Premium. 11 speaker JBL system versus a 10 speaker Lexus Premium. This is a Pioneer system. The infotainment, 12.3 inches versus the 14-inch Lexus interface. When you look at the Service Connect, Drive Connect, Safety Connect, and Remote Connect, it's exactly the same across the board. Then when you look at here, you can see that everything is included. The pre-collision with intersection support, I don't see that in the Crown Signia, but that is included in the NX450h Plus. Then no intelligent high beams, because these are not the triple beams or the quad beams. Airbags the same. So the limited and tech gets this intuitive parking assist with automatic braking, and that's not available on the NX450h Plus, the Ultra Premium. So you can see a lot of these things are not available here. And some of them are available in the limited with tech package. So if you look at this, it seems like the Ultra Premium is very close to the limited without the tech package in these areas. So no traffic jam assist, no advanced park, no lane change, no panoramic view monitor, no front cross traffic alert. All these are not included. This also gives you the ambient lighting of only one color, which is white, and there's no headlight washer. So from a feature standpoint, they are quite comparable. But then when you look at it with the rebate, that is actually not a bad price for some features that are not here. But even without the rebate, 63,330 versus 63,156, they are very, very close. All right, so I will have a few more scenarios here on really consumption, okay? Because I think this is where things could make a difference. All right, so when you look at the scenarios, this is really more operational costs, okay? So really fuel and electricity. So when you look at the fuel consumptions, definitely 6.2 as combined, 6 and 6.6. But the difference between the plug-in hybrid is you do get 60 kilometers of pure EV driving. So if I took a scenario of 50 kilometers a day, driving highway 60% and city 40%, using today's price that I got from the fuel, $1.62 per liter of regular fuel and $1.98 per liter of premium fuel. So looking at that with the highway ratio and the consumption, it costs about $5.05 to drive the 50 kilometer per day. I took that as I drive it 5 days a week and 52 weeks a year. So it ends up being $1,314. Then when you look at the NX350h, so I just did that comparison as well. It's $1,288, so that's not too big of a difference. But premium is $1,575, so it's about $260 difference. But then if you're driving only 50 kilometers a day, essentially you can actually drive the full EV across the board. So that's why there is zero cost to fuel. But then I took 12.2 cents of a mid-peak pricing. So this is like the mid-range pricing for per kilowatt. And I looked at the normal average drive charging. Even though it's an 18.1 kilowatt battery, you don't use it all. So it's about 14 point something kilowatt hours that you charge. So I took that number and it costs $1.77 to charge. So overall, it's about $459. So you can say $500 to charge if you drive 50 kilometers a day. So when you look at that comparison, so $500 versus $1,300. So you're saving about $800 on daily usage, if this is your scenario. So my next scenario is you drive 100 kilometers a day. And that's a lot, okay? So when you look at that, 60, 40, so it's about $2,628 of fuel. The hybrid, $2,500 and $3,150. So the gap of the premium, you can show it when you actually use more gas. And then because now 100 kilometers a day, you only get 60, right? So there's still 24 of kilometers on highway and 16 on city. You can actually get this a little bit different because what you can do is you use more fuel on the highway and then you use more EV on local roads. You can actually extend it a little bit more. I'm not going to go into that detail. So putting the regular fuel is about $4.40 for regular and $5.37 for the premium, plus the charging price that ends up being $6.16 for regular fuel and electricity, and $7.14 for the premium. So it ends up being $1,600 and $1,855. So you can still see there's a significant difference, still $1,000 difference if you drove 100 kilometers with 60 highway, 40 city. We do the same thing, but this time it's flipped, 40% highway and 60% city. You can see the price on the hybrid doesn't make that big of a difference. $2,594 versus $2,628. But when you look at even on the plug-in hybrid, you don't see that big of a difference as well, because the numbers are quite close, right? 6.3, 7.1, 6.6, they're not that big of a gap. But overall, if you look at 60% city, you may actually get more range on the plug-in hybrid. I'm not even doing that calculation. I'm still just making an assumption of 60 kilometers. So overall price, $1,574. So you're still talking about $1,000 difference driving the Signia versus the NX450h Plus. So when you look at the pricing perspective, if you're on the waitlist for the NX450h Plus and the size of the vehicle suits you, I personally would stick with the NX450h Plus. Tech is a little bit older than the Signia, but it's not that far off. If your wait is over 1 year, you might even see a newly refreshed NX which will have the matching tech or even a step above the Signia. We will have to see when that refresh comes, but I think that is the way to go if the NX450h Plus works for you. And if you don't have a place to plug your car, forget about the 450h Plus. Go for the Signia or even the 350h luxury trim. Overall, the cost of the two vehicles aren't that far off, and it's really which one can you get first. Because the ultra premium on the 450h Plus is lower than the Signia, you're actually saving money already. Plus, the operating costs would be lower for the plug-in hybrid. Some would say the plug-in hybrid has more things that would go wrong because it has more parts, and that is true. There is the charging component and the plug. Those two things can go wrong as well. But outside of those two things, essentially the two cars are very similar. And personally, I would stick with the NX450h Plus because I don't need the space and the Signia is a bit big for me. And I personally enjoy not needing to go to the gas station once every 3 months. And instead of if I had the Signia, it probably would be a few weeks. And really driving the NX450h Plus with the 300 horsepower, driving it with the pure EV quiet mode, it's a different experience. So let me know in the comments below, which vehicle would you go for if you had to choose between the Crown, the NX350h, and the NX450h Plus. Some people would say that they won't pick either one, and that is okay. You just don't need to tell us how much you hate these cars, and you can keep that all to yourself. But for the folks who have an opinion and are picking between the three, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Which one will you pick? And why did you pick it? I hope that you found that this video was informative, and until next video, drive safely. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please comment, like, share this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon to get notified when new videos are posted. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can provide me a super thanks. And until next time, cheers.